In a not-so-distant future, Earth is gripped by a severe energy shortage. In response, humanity constructs the Cloverfield station, a space platform created to test and deploy the Shepard particle accelerator. The mission's goal is to generate a limitless energy supply that could potentially avert wars over dwindling resources. Arba Hamilton receives a summons to join the crew for a 6-month mission in orbit. Although hesitant to leave her husband, Michael encourages her to accept. He reminds her that even the mission commander, fully aware of her personal struggles, insisted she be part of the team. That, he says, proves just how vital she is to the success of the project. Arba is incredibly skilled, and if she fulfills her role, it might mean survival not only for Earth, but also for her loved ones. The Shepard crew travels into orbit and starts their experiments. But initial efforts fail, and what was supposed to be a 6-month mission stretches into 2 years. During this time, Arba keeps in touch with Michael, who updates her on Earth's worsening condition. Oil-related conflicts are escalating. Energy reserves are nearly gone, and the consequences are spreading. Famine, disease, and societal collapse. Arba voices her worries. They have enough power for just 3 more trials, and if all fail, the mission will be considered a failure. Michael tries to reassure her, but their call suddenly cuts off. She watches a video of her children playing and breaks down in tears before the screen. Later, she joins the rest of the crew at the bridge, where they're taking a break. Out of nowhere, the mechanic Volkov starts complaining that even though he's done his work correctly, the accelerator still doesn't operate. He blames the German scientist, Schmid. Tensions are high. News updates warn that Germany might be preparing for war. Russians are reportedly starving daily. Yet, Schmid seems indifferent. Enraged, Volkov lashes out, and Schmid retaliates physically. Others quickly step in, trying to calm them down and remind everyone why they're there. It works, temporarily. Soon after, the crew prepares for the next launch of Shepard. Some scientists caution that if this attempt fails, it could tear holes between parallel dimensions. This might allow monstrous entities to cross into our world or cause time itself to spiral out of control, triggering a catastrophe. As Arba listens, Volkov adjusts the gyroscope while Monk quietly recites a cryptic prayer, pleading for the strength to save humanity and prevent global conflict. The team proceeds with the launch. As the countdown ticks down, everything appears normal. A surge of power bursts from the accelerator. Then everything stops. The station violently shakes. Explosions are heard outside. Crew members are tossed around. An alert sounds from the lower deck. But when the fire suppression system fails, they manually trigger ventilation. Once the chaos settles, the crew begins inspecting the damage. As repairs begin, they start noticing strange occurrences. All contact with Earth is lost. The power grid is down, and the internal temperature is climbing rapidly. Then, something shocking is revealed. Arba reports that Earth is no longer visible from the station. At first, her statement is met with disbelief. Some speculate they might have been launched to another part of the galaxy. The crew splits up, hoping to catch sight of Earth through any available viewport. Arba tries to reach Michael again. No luck. There's no planet in sight. No signal is getting through. Panic sets in. Arguments erupt. Crew members begin blaming one another. Some even suggest they might have destroyed Earth altogether. Finally, the captain gathers everyone and pleads for unity. He insists they stop pointing fingers and concentrate on staying alive. Only then will they uncover the truth. He gives out new assignments. Volkov reveals that when Shepard was rebooted, the orientation system shifted, suggesting an issue with the gyroscope. But when Arba inspects it, she discovers the gyroscope has vanished. Without it, they can't determine their position. At that moment, one crew member says he feels something odd, like his facial skin is crawling. He asks Arba to check it out. Just then, a blood-curdling scream echoes through the station. The team rushes toward the noise. They search through rooms, baffled by the source. Eventually, Tam points to a wall panel where the sound seems to originate. She warns it could be dangerous, but suggests opening it. The engineers remove the panel, and behind it, to their horror, is a woman entangled in life support tubing and conduits. No one knows who she is. Cutting her out might damage critical systems, and her identity is a mystery. Suddenly, she speaks. She knows Arba's last name and repeatedly begs for help, saying she doesn't understand what's happening. The team carefully removes her from the cables and moves her to the medical bay. As they cut off her clothing, they see wires embedded throughout her body, causing severe pain. They sedate her with a powerful injection. Meanwhile, on Earth, Michael hears explosions nearby. Checking online, he sees posts warning that the apocalypse has begun. People are urging each other to escape the city. Michael tries to contact his hospital, knowing they may need him, but he gets no response. Back on the station, the crew continues to debate what just happened. They argue over how to repair the ship, how to reach Earth, if it even still exists. One thing becomes clear: everything traces back to Shepard. Their first step now is fixing the station. The injured woman is placed in a cellular regeneration accelerator while the others return to their stations. Unnoticed, the foosball table's figures begin moving on their own. In a lab, Mundy discovers that the worms from his sealed aquariums have disappeared. At the same time, a heated argument breaks out between Tam and Schmid, despite their romantic involvement. Elsewhere, Volov again feels strange movements under his skin. Moments later, his eyes start spinning uncontrollably. He begins speaking to an unseen presence inside himself, first resisting, then giving in. He approaches the 3D printer, fabricates a weapon, and heads to the bridge, aiming it at Schmid and accusing him of being a German agent sent to sabotage the Shepard mission. Tam and Schmid attempt to reason with him, confused by his behavior. Volkov insists Schmid's presence is a ploy to destroy the project. Suddenly, Schmid collapses, convulsing violently. The crew watches in horror as Volkov vomits up the missing worms from the lab before dying. While everyone remains in shock, the rescued woman wanders into an old photograph featuring the former crew. She then regains consciousness, revealing her name is Mina. She remembers preparing to help Mundy and says she's been aboard for 2 years with the same team, except for Tam. Arba asserts that Tam built the Shepard and that none of this would have been possible without her. But Mina insists she was the real creator. Her team had been trying to activate the accelerator for 2 years without success. She claims Arba is her best friend who remained on Earth, and, more urgently, warns them not to trust Schmid, accusing him of sabotaging the experiment to help Germany win the war against Russia. Infuriated, the commander storms into Schmid's lab, assaults him, and locks him in a secure compartment, declaring he's decoded messages proving Schmid's betrayal. Back on Earth, chaos reigns. Something massive is destroying everything and killing thousands. Michael drives toward the hospital, but discovers all contact with the station has been lost. As he nears the wreckage, he stops and steps outside, just in time to see a monstrous silhouette rise through the smoke. He manages to rescue a child trapped in the debris. Meanwhile, aboard the station, Mundy is fixing a wall panel when his arm is suddenly absorbed and violently torn off. The shocked crew rushes him to the infirmary, where Mundy, oddly calm, waves the stump, feeling no pain. They start to grasp that the laws of physics may have changed, but how, they don't yet know. Then, the door to Schmid's compartment swings open. He sees Mundy's detached hand crawling on its own. He radios the others and asks to meet on the main deck. Once assembled, they trap the rogue hand under an aquarium. Schmid presents a theory. 2 universes have collided at a single intersection, now merging and battling for dominance, which could explain the bizarre phenomena. Mundy notices the hand trying to write. They give it a pen, and it scribbles a message suggesting they need to open Volkov's body. The crew heads to the infirmary. Tam carries out the operation and uncovers the missing gyroscope inside him. With this, they manage to identify their current location. They've ended up elsewhere in the solar system, but at least they now know where. Just then, Arba receives transmissions from Earth. The news is devastating. A global war has been raging for 14 months, and the Cloverfield station was believed to have crashed into the ocean. The team realizes that activating the accelerator caused a dimensional collision. They're now stuck in an alternate timeline. To get back, they must fix and relaunch Shepard. By reversing quantum entanglement, they can return to their original universe. Some argue staying might be safer, but Schmid warns that it would doom their original world. On Earth, Michael takes the child to a hospital, only to find it destroyed. He's told to relocate to somewhere safer. He contacts a friend with a secure shelter, drives there, and provides aid to the girl. Back on the station, Mina thanks Monk for his diligence and explains her theory about what went wrong. She reminds them that if they escape, she'll be left behind in their world. Tam suggests checking the ventilation system since it activated right before everything began to fail. She crawls into the vent and discovers a water leak. Schmid is relieved they've found the problem, but then Tam gets stuck in an airlock as it floods. She sends out a distress call. The crew races to help, but the doors won't budge. Suddenly, the outer hatch gives way from pressure, freezing Tam instantly. The team is devastated by the loss of Shepard's creator. Their hopes of returning seem shattered, but Arba remembers Mina. Meanwhile, Michael finally confirms that the station is gone. He pleads with officials to help locate the child's parents when a terrifying scream erupts outside. Back on the station, Mina agrees to fix the Shepard in exchange for a capsule and the blueprint she'll need to return to her own world. Arba gathers her clothing as Mina reveals that in Arba's alternate dimension, the one where Arba never took part in the mission, her own family is still alive. That same family perished in Arba's world due to a fuel cell fire that Arba herself had installed. Mina then plays a message from that alternate family. After evaluating every possibility, the crew agrees to temporarily cut off the oxygen supply in order to reroute energy to the accelerator. Distressed, Arba confides in the captain, vowing to do whatever it takes to get the crew home. However, she insists on staying behind to alert her alternate self about the fire hazard. Meanwhile, Mundy heads to the assigned area to begin the system shutdown. Unexpectedly, odd magnetic surges start occurring. Wires twist around him, oxygen ignites, and a massive portion of the station is ripped apart from the command module. The detached segment connects back to the main structure, spinning dangerously and putting the entire station at risk. The crew concludes they need to release the ring to preserve the accelerator. Captain Arba and Monk venture out and, after a grueling effort, reach the unstable section. They discover the task must be performed manually. Arba orders her teammates to retreat, then releases the latch, vanishing into space with the wreckage. Back on Earth, Michael learns the girl's parents have been located. He records a message asking his wife to consider giving their marriage another chance. Aboard the station, Arba assumes command and authorizes the Shepherd's launch. She gives Monk the ignition key and proceeds to the escape pod with Mina. But then, Mina unexpectedly attacks Arba, steals a gun, and rushes to the control room. Her true motive is to keep the station functional so it can replace the one that was lost in the ocean of her own Earth, potentially saving her world. To gain control, she murders Monk and takes the launch keys. Arba comes to and follows after her. While chasing Arba, Mina fires at Schmid and urges Arba to consider her reasoning. Taking the lives of 3 here to save 8 million on her Earth. What else could she possibly choose? As Mina prepares to shoot, Schmid interferes and the keys land in Arba's hands. She escapes, but Mina wounds Schmid and goes after her again. Knowing there's nowhere left for Arba to hide in the damaged station, Mina plays a recording of Arba's children to lure her out. Torn between the urge to stay in a world where her children are still alive, Arba ultimately defeats Mina and ejects her into the vacuum through a shattered hatch. She then records a message for her other self, attaches the Shepherd data, and sends them to Earth 2 with Schmid. Arba activates the accelerator, returning to her original dimension. They re-establish contact with Earth and confirm the accelerator has stabilized. A return capsule begins its descent, though they remain unaware of the changes that have taken place on Earth. Down on the planet, Michael receives confirmation that the station has been located and that Arba is on her way back. He cries out in anguish. She must not return. As he rushes to stop the landing, Arba and Schmid's capsule burst through the cloud cover, and a monstrous entity rises, raising its immense head and unleashing a bone-chilling roar.